What is going on, everybody? It is episode 652 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. She is back.
Yes.
Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, and we are back from an absolutely insane weekend. I was at a women's summit.
Did something happen?
Yeah, something might have happened in the news.
It was my 3-year anniversary working at Timcast.
Yeah, that's the big news that everyone might have missed, is there was this momentous occasion, Brett's 3rd anniversary as a Timcast employee.
By the way, I forgot to put episode number on there, so I started talking, and I was like, shit, what episode is this?
We were like, we knew we forgot something, but F it, we're going live.
We're live, yeah.
Yeah.
How was the Women's Summit?
The Women's Summit. I was obviously kidding. I was at a Catholic creator conference, so it's like Catholics who are, I'm about to cringe, influencers.
I told everyone you were at GodCon.
GodCon, yeah, that was
I think I said Catholic Con too.
It was really fun though. Walked around Steubenville, saw the sights, met the people. Everyone was really nice. Unfortunately, a damper on the event when we found out about what happened. Are we just not going to mention it until we actually get to the topic? I'm sure you guys are already aware there was an attempt on Trump's life on Saturday.
I knew there was something. I knew something happened.
Yeah, but you got rid of X on your phone, so you got the message late.
No, not even late. I was pretty on point as to right when it happened. I had just gotten home from skating.
Okay.
I was checking messages because I was going somewhere, and that was the first thing that popped up, and the first thing I did was make an Alec Baldwin tweet and then deleted it and then made a more serious tweet.
Did you save your drafts?
Of
all of your offensive jokes, you took not even a millisecond to process what just happened.
It wasn't even offensive. I just deleted it because I wanted to post something slightly more serious. And then to do that, you can't have that, sandwiched between two bad tweets.
You can't effort post between shit posts.
That's basically what it was.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I wanted to tweet some jokes, but I refrained because I knew that people were going to jump down my throat.
I don't care.
Well, once you knew that he was going to live is when you wrote the jokes, right?
Yeah, he was. Actually, yeah.
Because for a second, I didn't even know that he was okay.
No, so what it was more that I was like, well, the first thought I had after it, because he looked fine, was, where did they, as everyone knows, one of the things you need to pay attention to if you're firing a weapon is know your target and what's behind you, what's behind it. And so I was like, where did the bullets end up? Mm-hmm. That was the first part for me. And
well, there's still a lot of questions. The thing is, we're not here to answer any of them. And if you're looking for information about the incident,
not us, you guys.
You're in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we try to keep this show mostly on a lighthearted note, and we're going to continue to try to do that. But there is a spin where we can kind of talk about the celebrity reactions to all of this.
Yeah, we're going to get
social media talk.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the social media reactions as well. Also, ladies and gentlemen, news is breaking on Friday, of course, about Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, everyone forgot about that.
He dodged a bullet as well. And the thing is we got that, and also Eminem is dissing Candace Owens because it's 2024, and of course he is.
So the new album is Death of Slim Shady, right?
Yes.
The whole thing was just a bucket of cringe. Not like we expected anything different from him.
Look, I listened to a couple of the songs. I don't know if cringe is the word I'd use to it. Stagnant might be a better word. It doesn't feel like it's evolved from earlier albums.
I mean, it's evolved in that it's gotten worse.
So we're going to talk about that. But guys, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Please and thank you. And share the video with your friends, families, loved ones, people you like, people you don't like, all of them, because the best way to help this show grow is to share it with more people so that they can see it and share it with their friends, families, loved ones, haters, etc., etc., etc. Also, remember, all Super Chats $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there, and then we will do our very best to get back on topic.
Also, everyone in the chat, tell us where you were when you got the news, because being at the Women's Summit, I was around a lot of people to support me and help me not spiral. But you were alone.
Yeah, it was.
Let us know where you were, because this is going to be something you remember for the rest of your life.
It really will be. A lot of people are going to remember. Just think about this. People got married on Saturday.
I know.
Now that's what
if you guys are familiar, any OG Crisis actors remember when Nina was on the show. Yeah. She just got married over the weekend. And imagine that being your wedding day.
It happens.
Kind of a blessing in disguise, if you think about it.
So, all right. So now that we've got the initial discussion out of the way, of course, we will talk more about all of that stuff. If you're ready, Mario, we can just go ahead and get started.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's start it off on a more hilarious note.
Let's start it off on a tonal issue.
Did you ever wonder, did you, the audience, ever wonder what would happen if Andrew Tate happened to get into internet beef with Elmo?
See, this is what Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson can have some common ground on, is their shared hatred for Elmo. If this tweet were real. Yes. First of all, guys, we know that this tweet was proven fake, as shown by the... But I don't care. It's real in my heart.
I forgot about... What was it that Jordan Peterson called him? Milk...
a sop or something?
Milk sop or something?
Yeah, a milk sop.
Something.
I've never heard
like
the term
that
in my life, but I loved it.
Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong about that. I thought that's what it was.
Last year, Elmo tweets, "Happy International Women's Day" from Elmo, and Andrew Tate replies...
Andrew Tate.
Fake Andrew Tate replies, "You have poisoned the minds of young boys for generations, vilifying masculinity and what it means to be a man. May you and your Sesame Street become reduced to a pile of burning rubble. Up yours, vile creature."
See, here's why the internet's important, right? Yes, it's fake, and on its face it seems ridiculous, but we all know that interactions like this are not outside the realm of possibility. Maybe not from him, but there's absolutely somebody who is probably in a Sesame Street Twitter page right now telling them to stop going woke.
This is why you can't believe anything you see on the internet, but you also believe everything you see on the internet.
I mean, that's kind of what I always tell. Shane talks about post-reality. I talk about post-truth. I said truth doesn't matter anymore. The truth is whatever entertains you through the day, whatever algorithm entertains you through the day now. This is why I get so mad. Like I wrote, when we were talking about Trump, I wrote this long essay about why the media is evil, and that's the point, is like, for somebody who doesn't have the time to to comb through the dregs of the internet, the point of the media is supposed to be there to suss it out and present you with the most reliable information they can, and the fact that you can't do that anymore because the media is evil is the problem, right? So I don't expect the internet as a whole to behave reasonable. I expect people who claim to be bastions of truth trying to curate the internet to act with some sense of decorum.
That interview with the Trump supporter, if you guys saw that, we're not going to show it, but it says everything when the interviewer says, "Well, be careful what you say because you don't know who's going to watch this." Like...
That's a threat.
Yeah, that sounds like a threat. But anyway, another star Trump supporter, Woah, Vicky. She back. Has another video. She is back, all in for Trump.
Look,
with the chain around her neck.
Look, guys, I've changed my mind. Trump, Trump, Baby is now my favorite song of all time.
You voting Trump, Trump, Baby.
I changed my mind. All right, it's not cringe anymore. It's gonna go #1 with a bullet.
What was even the second line? It was like,
I don't remember.
"In November we go crazy" or something.
Okay, here's Woah, Vicky.
Trump 2024. Y'all already know who we voting for. Vote for my uncle. Period. Trump 2024.
Can you explain to me again what a Woah, Vicky is?
This you're looking at.
I know, but who is a Woah, Vicky?
It's her. She is the Woah, Vicky.
Like the USA.
She was kind of like Bad Baby before Bad Baby.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, pick your winners where you can get them, I guess. I don't...
She's black identifying. She's one of the black voters.
Y'all already know who we voting for.
She doesn't have like the smoothest delivery.
She's spitting bars.
Every time she gives one of these speeches, it's kind of like she stutters through it,
Probably because she's faking the accent.
But I thought she's like a professional influencer, right? She should be better at that. Like,
yeah.
The beauty is like, I don't have to be good at it. She should be good at it if this is her livelihood.
Well, maybe she'll hear this and she'll take some constructive criticism on her delivery.
Like, listen, the accent is good, but you're gonna have to work on it.
Yeah.
It'd be best if
it needs work.
It would be better if she was like British. In that.
If she's been British this whole time and she was hiding it from everyone.
She's from Manchester.
She legitimately, if you never heard her talk, you could look at a video of her and assume she was from Manchester. Because she looks like that. She looks like one of the Manchester club girlies in one of those videos. They're walking around in basically strings for clothing.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird clothing choices, this recent appearance from Billie Eilish.
You're gonna have to explain this because so you were gone on Friday and you sent this to me and you said you should cover this. I go, why? Like I don't get it.
Well, basically, Billie Eilish is being accused of cultural appropriation.
Why? Because she's wearing baggy pants?
Well, look, okay, it's more than that. Who does this remind you of?
I don't know. She's not wearing a do-rag. She's just wearing like a bandana.
Which rapper would you say she's like emulating here?
I have no idea.
All I saw was a bunch of comments saying that this is cultural appropriation. Look at the replies.
It's just every rapper in the early 2000s.
And it feels like she is just doing the most to prove to everyone that she's suddenly this like butch lesbian because she made one song about being attracted to women, and now she's like playing it up way more than anyone ever needed her to. And also, it's interesting. Have you seen Chicken Shop Date?
No.
It's another one of these interview shows. It's like Z-Way's show, but they always do it at a chicken shop.
It's not like hot.
It's like Hot Ones mixed with Z-Way.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like,
I mean, I guess I could see the general
proof that
appeal
there's
of that.
no originality whatsoever on the internet.
Well, everything is an elevator pitch. I'm more impressed by like what is that, like a G-Shock watch from the early 2000s?
You would know better than me. I'm surprised she's not wearing an Affliction shirt.
Yeah.
In this one.
You should.
But seriously, like, why is she dressed like that?
Because it's comfortable. I mean, she always wore baggy clothes, didn't she?
Well, everyone says that she wears baggy clothes because she's insecure about people commenting on her body.
But she doesn't care about that now.
But then she claims not to care about that, and then she goes back and forth with how she dresses. I don't know. It seems like she's overcompensating for something. Another lesbian in the media is Renee Rapp. She was at
just weird.
The Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, where, of course, they always slime people.
I don't know if this is the picture you take right after being on the Kids' Choice Awards.
Yeah. She's in the bathroom. This is her aftermath photo from getting slimed at the Kids' Choice Awards.
Where is the quiet on set for this one?
For those listening rather than watching, she is groping her tits in this photo, pushing her cleavage out. And may I remind you, it's the Kids' Choice Awards. I don't even know why she was invited because I have only seen her in this stupid Mean Girls reboot. I have not seen her in anything else.
Well, I don't think they have like a requirement for how many things you have to be in before you're invited to the Kids' Choice Awards.
I feel like she kind of looks like JoJo Siwa. Is that a reach? They're going for the same thing.
Like generically Pillsbury Doughboyish.
It's something about the way their mouths are shaped. They look too small. It's like giving Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
But before I get flamed again for criticizing Renee Rapp
Not
and
allowed
get
to do
banned
that.
on every social media platform, I should just stop myself.
Be careful.
Before I get ahead.
Bad things will happen. If that continues to happen.
Also, breaking news that got totally memory holed over the weekend because of the attempt on Trump's life. Alec Baldwin's trial for manslaughter got suddenly dismissed in the middle of the day on Friday. And I don't think that you guys covered this on Friday.
No.
It hadn't happened yet. But let's take a look at his reaction as the motion to dismiss was granted. He burst into tears. And I think you can see his wife in this video as well. He just breaks down. What's with the sound?
Now, with respect to the jury, I don't imagine you all want to return on Monday. I will take care of the jury.
Thank you.
He's hugging his lawyer.
Meanwhile, Hannah Gutierrez Reed is over there in jail like...
Really? Really?
She's doing the meme face right now.
I mean, I definitely predicted that he would not be convicted.
No.
I mean, I don't think anyone
if you're wondering
thought he would face consequences.
Why the case was dismissed, the state withheld information and evidence crucial to the case.
This says the prosecutor resigned in the middle of the hearing because the judge found out that the prosecution withheld evidence surrounding how live ammunition got into the gun that he fired while filming Rust.
The ammo was turned over after Hannah Gutierrez Reed was convicted, by an ex-police officer named Troy Teskey, who just happens to be friends with Hannah Gutierrez Reed's dad.
This is literally on Thursday last week. A retired police officer walked into the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office and dropped off a batch of bullets that were connected to the case. And once again, nobody told Alec Baldwin's defense lawyers.
Yep.
So they decided not to voice any complaints about that and spring a trap on the prosecution, which led to it getting dismissed. And there's no retrial.
They were speaking to an evidence tech named Marissa Popple, who then basically was questioned, said, "You received this evidence, right?" And she's like, "Yes." And then had to admit, like, "Well, why didn't you share that with us?"
They had a pattern of not sharing evidence with Alec Baldwin's defense team over and over and over again, and their complaints were being ignored until now. But a defense lawyer told Variety, "I think it was incredible lawyering to discover this evidence, to show the court through cross-examination what happened to it, and get a dismissal with prejudice in 24 hours. I've never seen that happen."
Yep.
So I guess he has his lawyer to thank for this.
It says he set the wheels in motion Thursday afternoon at the end of several hours of cross-examination. He asked Popple about a good Samaritan who had dropped off bullets at the sheriff's office. She acknowledged that this had happened, and then he said that nobody had told the defense, and she said it was not her responsibility to do so. Oh, it was the old, I was just following orders thing, right? Like, that's not my job. He goes, "You buried it." I'm sure that was said very vociferously in the courtroom.
And Alec Baldwin put out a statement after the trial saying, "There are too many people who have supported me to thank just now. To all of you, you will never know how much I appreciate your kindness toward my family." I'm sure he's going to post another one of those weird photos where he's cradling Iraria on Instagram.
Yep.
And now he's free to, have his reality TV show on TLC and take all the work he wants.
I got a question for you. Does it say something about the culture that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got like 8,000 times the public interest?
Yes. It says a lot about the culture, because this is what I said at the time, and I was probably worse at saying it then when we were in the middle of it. But the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial became a proxy war between men and women, right at the point where red pill content was really soaring in popularity. And then I think it had its heyday last year, and it's on the decline now.
There's a $20 from Nate, says JD Vance announced as VP.
Oh, just now?
Just now.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. We'll have to wait to hear
I
what
don't
Tim
know
has
what
to
to
say
make
about
of that because I don't pay attention to politics. but
Wouldn't have been my choice, but that's okay.
What would have been your choice?
Look, I would have rather had Vivek.
Imagine if after all this time he chooses Alec Baldwin.
Like, and then what it is, he does that on purpose so that he can send Baldwin to events to do his Trump impersonation as if it was a Saturday Night Live event.
Yeah.
Right? That would be perfect.
It's basically his evil twin.
Look, he would do something.
There was also this really bizarre moment in the trial that got reposted everywhere. It got millions of views. I have no idea what the context is, but I just felt like it needed to be shared here.
I really appreciated the acting that he did on Saturday Night Live, and I really appreciate his politics.
You told one of the witnesses who disagreed with you during an interview that you thought Mr. Baldwin was a cocksucker.
I do not recall saying that.
That's what everyone in Congress knows. Everyone in the Senate knows. When they hit you with it, you always give the, "I do not recall."
The person transcribing the trial right now was like, "Oh, she went there."
When transcribed, is that C?
Do they have to censor it?
Is that C?
Do they have to use asterisks when
yeah,
they
is there an
transcribe?
asterisk?
Yeah.
I wonder, right?
I don't even know.
I'm sure it's typed out in full, right? It's got to be. Also, is there
they televised this?
Is there
didn't they?
Do they do the sign language interpreter? Is there a sign language interpreter who has to then motion for?
I wish I could have seen that.
For that, I love that. Have you ever seen the compilations of like the sign language interpreter doing Biden stuff?
Wasn't there like an imposter sign language interpreter at one of Biden's events?
Oh, I don't know if it's at one of Biden's events.
Wait, where were they?
Who was just making stuff up?
Was it a concert or what?
There's another 20 there.
Not that Jon Stewart said Daily Wire also reporting JD Vance.
Okay. Well, there you have it. You'll have to stay tuned for Timcast IRL.
We're going to be offering you precisely 0 political analysis
tonight
today.
at 8 p.m. for the political analysis around the candidate choice. Did he make it to the UFC event? I thought he did, but then you said that you didn't think.
I
he made
never
it.
saw that happen.
Okay.
I just saw that he went to New York and he was like golfing the next day.
Well, what we know, guys, is that the movie about the making of Rust will be infinitely more interesting than the movie itself. I wonder how this ends up helping or hurting the box, because there's no way this doesn't get a theater release now, right? It has to get a theater.
Oh no,
release.
it's gonna do well because of the trial.
Yeah.
It's the best marketing they could have come up with.
You know what they should do?
But they're making a documentary about the making of Rust?
I don't know. I'm saying they will eventually, but I'm saying they should make a satirical film about this.
I mean, they have Helena
It can be
Hutchins'
about
death on camera.
It can be a satirical film called Crust, and then they
Crust.
and it's another actor named Alec Baldwin.
Or Thrust.
Crust and Thrust, from the man who brought you Velocipaster.
Amazing.
That's what it should be. And look, people weren't as interested. That's what I found shocking. Like it's hard to believe that the trial was 2022 when they did
Amber Heard
and Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was a proxy war for men and women. I guess this could be a proxy war between what?
Famous people and not
gun-tubers?
famous people.
Yeah. Like there's just not any interest in the same way.
There was no way to easily take a side, but I still find the whole thing extremely suspicious.
And
there's still no actual explanation for how the live round ended up in the gun.
They don't know yet.
Like, how do you not know?
They won't know because it's not.
They're not going to investigate.
And Helena Hutchins, and Hannah Gutierrez Reed is already filing for an appeal. I don't know if that means she's going to get out, but it probably does.
But he could still be civilly sued.
Yes, just like OJ got civilly sued after being acquitted, right?
So we'll have to see.
We'll have to wait and see if that happens. I just thought it was kind of crazy how this one somebody actually lost their life in this, and nobody seemed to be even a quarter as interested as they were hearing about men and women bitch about each other.
Yep.
It is sad.
It says everything you need to know.
I mean, it is, right? Like, okay, so if you're talking about what's going on here, that doesn't really apply to anybody's life. I'm not going to end up on a set where I have to worry about somebody bringing live ammunition and putting it in a prop gun. I'm not going to have to worry about that. But the analog, the comparison to Depp and Heard is that the issues between men and women are easily accessible and understandable to all.
Well, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it wasn't just a proxy war between men and women on social media. It was also, at long last, a relitigation of the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
It was really the reckoning moment for the Me Too movement. Unfortunately, because Amber Heard was one of the most egregious Me Too liars.
And it doesn't matter because Leslie Headland's over there making stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter because the Harvey Weinstein that exists in Hollywood now is someone we will never know the name of.
Yep.
Or maybe we will in a decade or two.
Longer than that.
There are way more than
right?
just him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just... We know enough about Quiet on Set and the rest of these, studios. It's an ongoing problem.
All right, what would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cute first.
Okay. All right, guys, by the way, you can submit cute of the day, hashtag PCC Pets, to me in the show at Brett Dasovic and at popculture_show on Twitter. I'll try to get to them as much as I can. I still don't have Twitter on my phone, which is...
That's okay. I still have Twitter, so
it's been a boon for my mental health. I'll tell you that. So
yeah.
All right, let's look at cute of the day then here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find them here. First things first. Make sure it's not one from Friday, and of course it was one from Friday. Got to get rid of that one. Hold please. This one. This is from Crandy222. Says Gumball, the cat, and Ollie, or as I like to call them, Ren and Stimpy, playing around in blankets. Keep up the great work. I love listening the next day on Spotify. Thank you.
They look like friends.
They do look like friends.
But they also look taken off guard.
The Mocha just sleeps in the frickin' sink every day now, and every day I have to resist the urge
Cats love sleeping in sinks and bathtubs. It's their favorite pastime.
Every day I almost turn the water on. And I don't.
One day.
I'm a benevolent
One
God.
day you'll snap.
I know. I will not. I'm a bigger person than that. I will not do that. All right, let's do one more here. This one is from Cookie Don. Wow, this little punk fell asleep on my shoulder.
So cute.
That is adorable. That is very adorable. Looks like it's pawing for something in its dreams.
He's dreaming about his mom or something.
All right, so let us get started then, shall we? Time to talk
we
about
have Cringe.
Oh, we do. You said this one's really bad.
It's really bad. I think this is the last word on Hawktua.
Actually, okay, so I saw
The last mention of Hawktua.
I saw her on her Instagram, like she was doing like charity work. She's like, if I'm gonna have only 15 minutes of fame, I'm gonna use it to help people. I'm like, wow, you got a good promotional manager.
Yeah.
I like it. And yeah.
But this is another street interview in an attempt to recreate the iconic moment of Hawktua.
On that thing.
It's gotta be super wet, so of course it's gotta be fucking.
No, do you like pretend this is my weenie? Do you like spitting on it? What do you spit on it? She is a freak.
I give that fucking.
His face was amazing. He's like, ugh.
She is a freak.
I give that fucking block.
Show it.
Block. So who?
Show the camera how you do it. Do it
They
again.
don't need to see that shit. They don't need to see that shit.
But I really want to.
Oh shit.
Oh, God damn, man, look.
She needs a cock two cocks.
She belongs to the streets.
That's why you always need to carry fucking hair clip.
Oh.
This is really maybe the worst cringe we've ever had. This is maybe the worst.
Like, it doesn't even need the video.
Literally the worst.
It doesn't even need the video clips intercut in there.
She want me. She actually fucking spit on me.
Love.
Bro, she spit on me.
I'll spit on you too.
Nah, hell no.
You don't fuck with gay shit?
Clean it.
You don't do gay shit?
I do.
She wants to be famous, my friend.
It didn't work.
No.
It was a pathetic attempt at being as famous as Hawktua Girl, and it's never gonna work.
No, you can't recreate something like that.
But if she had an accent, it might have worked.
No, I don't think it would. I don't think it would. I think that
Had to be in the moment.
it had to be in the
You
moment.
had to be there.
And there was something off the cuff about what was said, and that was like the most I want to be famous thing I've ever seen.
We
in
have
my entire
had
life.
some really bad cringe on the show before, but that might actually be the worst.
I have second, third, and fourth hand embarrassment for her.
I have a secondhand embarrassment for the interviewer who was like embarrassingly simping
Yeah.
for her. And why on earth would you hold your pinky up and say, "Pretend this is my wiener"?
I also
Are you trying to tell everyone that it looks like that?
now there's like a trend going around after that horrible video we had to watch about the people in the office of people making videos like that. And people were trying to make this a gendered thing, as if like women are the only ones that could be cringe. And I was like,
What, itty bitty titties and a bob?
yeah, well, yeah, but I'm saying like the point is like the videos that have been made since then, there's pathetic dudes in the office doing this.
Yeah,
now,
but you
too.
know it was women who came up with it, and they like got the
Oh,
guys in the
that
office
makes the
to
guy
go along
worse.
with
That's
it.
worse.
Yes, that makes it worse than if he came up with it, but it is clearly like women made the trend.
Cringe is omnipresent on the internet, as I said, and you cannot escape it. It does not know gender, race, any of that.
You know, everyone says that you shouldn't overthink your embarrassing moments because other people forget about them.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not true.
Do you have any particular ones in mind? Do you have ones that that you've done that you know for sure other people still think about?
I ran away backwards from a bee one time until I fell over and my skirt flew up in front of my entire friend group.
Okay.
I think they might remember that.
Maybe. It's not even all that embarrassing.
It's pretty embarrassing. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I've remembered other people's cringe moments.
It's just you.
Maybe
then.
it's just me.
It's just you. You hone in on other people's embarrassing moments. Maybe
it's just like
maybe it's a coping mechanism. Maybe you have more
second-
embarrassing moments than you think, and
the
you use
second
that
you try to fall asleep, you're like,
Yeah.
that one time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that was awful. I really think
It was really bad.
I really think we should have done cute of the day after that.
I apologize.
Yes.
That was my mistake.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Why don't we talk about all of the ways in which celebrities in Hollywood are melting down because of what happened to Donald Trump?
As I'm sure all of you are aware by now, there was an attempt made on Donald Trump's life over the weekend. And we're not going to be getting into all of the facts about that and giving our political takes, but we're going to talk about some of the celebrity reactions to this incident. Because, first of all, we saw Tenacious D saying, "Don't miss Trump next time." Josh Lacash on Twitter posted the video saying these people are sick and want you dead. And it makes it much worse knowing that a Trump supporter was murdered that day. Obviously, we're happy that Trump survived, but it's nothing to wish violence upon people in the crowd.
No.
To these people. Like, let's just take a look at that video first.
Don't miss Trump next time.
Like, I'm sure everyone in the crowd had just found out about the news. And he maybe heard it in his earpiece and decided that then was the time to incite violence against the former president.
Yeah.
And then I also saw Amanda Seales, an actress, sharing her theory that Trump's assassination attempt was completely staged. And I saw a lot of people saying this, actually. It was the biggest cope ever. They were thinking that it was like blood squibs on his head, and that the popping sounds were like, what, BB guns or something? Firecrackers. They said it was blood pellets and popcorn gunshots. And this woman actually posted this. Do you have the video from Dom Lucra?
I have. I mean, it's right here in the article from Daily Mail.
Show us the video of her take.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove.
Yeah, because how it sounds on your TV or your phone is exactly how it sounds in real life.
Theater, in movies, they have what's called blood pellets. They even, people use them in Halloween. It's basically like a pellet of fake blood that's in your mouth, and when you crush it, the blood comes out.
She's giving her Hollywood film set expertise.
Small Hands Trump would not respond by raising his fist in the air triumphantly were an actual attempt made on his life. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
What an idiot.
But Blue Anon has reached new levels.
It is actually Blue Anon. These levels of cognitive dissonance.
I have no problem with a good old-fashioned conspiracy theory. I just think you should apply it both ways.
It's like, if the whole thing was staged, why was someone else murdered and another person injured and in critical condition?
And she did not pay attention.
And who was the guy on the roof?
And she likely did not have that information at the time, or she's just evil.
No, she's just flapping her jaw with no information and trying to make it seem like she's an expert because she's done like scenes on Hollywood sets where they use blood pellets.
I did see somebody counter the argument and said, no, Donald Trump is a WWE Hall of Famer. What he would have done is blade, meaning he takes a razor blade and cuts himself while he's on the ground and then comes to face the hard cam, which is what they always talk about. Like in pro wrestling.
That can scar you though.
And yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of dedication.
Stone Cold Steve Austin did at WrestleMania 13 when he was in the sharpshooter
these scars
with Bret Hart, and then the blood comes down his face, right?
And I'm currently waiting for Kathy Griffin's apology. I'm waiting for her Notes app apology post any minute now, I'm sure. Because Kathy Griffin, after that photo shoot with the fake decapitated Trump head, is just one of many celebrities who have openly wished violence upon Trump over the years. And you sent me this article, 16 times Hollywood celebrities fantasized about violence against Trump and compared him to Hitler.
Look, if with all of the people saying that it's fake, look, I'm having unreliable information that saying stuff like that can get you sued for like $1.5 billion now.
Oh, interesting how the standard does not apply when it's the other way around.
It's like he said in Trump Baby, two-tier justice system.
It's almost like the left are hypocritical. But yeah, this noted Snoop Dogg, who is now a Trump supporter, right?
Yeah.
He fake shot Trump in the head in one of his music videos back in 2017.
This was a list that Breitbart compiled of 16 celebrities that had at one point or another, maybe not recently, fantasized about doing violence to him. Not to mention all of the times the words existential threat and threat to democracy have been used over the last 8 years.
And they use these trigger phrases, don't
Kathy
they? And then
Griffin.
obviously Kathy Griffin, the most notorious of the bunch. Robert De Niro, who has Trump derangement syndrome to the max, saying he would like to punch Trump in the face. Madonna saying, I've thought a lot about blowing up the White House.
Look, here's the thing.
But they're on the hunt for January 6ers.
We're on air every day here, and I'm always very, very reticent to say stuff. Right? You know, like I don't want anything to be misconstrued.
We gotta watch our mouths.
It's crazy that you think you can just say that and not think that the Secret Service is going to end up at your door.
It looks like she said this at the Women's March because she's wearing a pussy hat.
That
but
makes
she said
sense.
this right into the mic at one of these events, and no, the FBI did not investigate Madonna for saying this. Bette Midler openly wished for someone to shiv or stab Trump. She also fantasized about Trump getting kicked in the nuts and being physically pummeled in front of the entire country.
It's really weird how so many celebrities, like politically active celebrities, have like really, really violent fantasies that they love to tell their audience about.
It's the theater kid complex where they're finally in power and they're not screaming from the inside of a locker anymore. So this is what they use their platform to propagate. Barbara Streisand shared an image showing Nancy Pelosi impaling Trump with the heel of a Louboutin stiletto.
Well, if anybody can afford the Louboutins, it's Nancy Pelosi.
Johnny Depp, in fact, said, when was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
Get it?
So I'm guessing he was considering that option. And Deborah Messing shared her wish that Trump becomes a rape victim. Okay, that's tasteful.
I always thought that Deborah Messing kind of felt like she got shortchanged. Like Alyssa Milano got crazy, washed up, has-been actress Trump hater award, and Deborah Messing was kind of always jealous. Maybe it was the redhead in her.
Yes, it's annoying to hate on Trump in Hollywood, but it's even more annoying if you're washed up and don't have the talent to back it up. If Robert De Niro is saying it, I'll look past it. I'll still watch things that he's in. Jim Carrey also drew Donald Trump burning at the stake. He's known for posting his art online these days because he's semi-retired. And it's not good, folks. George Lopez also shared an illustration holding up of El Chapo holding up a decapitated Trump as well.
Then the list goes on.
The list just goes
Rosie
on and
O'Donnell,
on and
Paul
on.
Schrader,
Jane
Carol Cook.
Fonda.
There's all sorts of them.
And it just keeps going and going. And yet they will take no accountability for their quote-unquote dangerous rhetoric. They'll say that Trump screaming fight, fight, fight after getting shot is the dangerous rhetoric.
I knew as soon as you said that that's how that was going to be spun.
Of course it was going to be twisted. But on the other hand, there were some celebrities that voiced their support for Trump after the news came out. Kid Rock posted this video.
Go to war with
He was wearing this hat that says White Boy of the Year.
Go to war with the army you have, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
You fuck with Trump, you fuck with me.
Okay.
Wow, at the start of that video, it wasn't just a millennial pause.
That was like a boomer pause.
There was a full century passing before.
What it was is like the red light's on. Is it recording? It's recording, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 50 Cent posted, he put up an image of Trump on his album cover behind him on stage after the assassination attempt. There it is. We're using this for one of our thumbnails.
Okay.
He's kind of doing it half-assed.
That's okay.
But that's okay. It's 50 Cent. He's
Jason Aldean got involved as well.
Try that in a small town.
They did technically. That's the problem.
They tried it in a small town. It worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, he dedicated his performance of Small Town to Trump after the attempt. And finally, ending it on a high note, Donald Trump gave a comment to the New York Post about the images, the absolutely iconic images that came out afterwards, where he has the blood streaming down his face and he's pumping his fist in the air and the American flag just billowing in the background. You can't make this up. He said, people are right to call this photo of him after being shot iconic. A lot of people say it's the most iconic photo they've ever seen. They're right, and I didn't die. Usually you have to die to have an iconic picture. I knew
you'd love that.
I love him. I love him to death. I really do. My entire heart belongs to this man.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats then. Let's do some of them here.
Andrew Jacobs said, Viva Trump, R.I.P. Shannon, F. Destiny. Stay safe, y'all.
Yup. Shannon Doherty died.
Mm-hmm.
That, and we missed, who is the other one that died very recently as well?
Was it Shelley?
Yes, Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but you said you didn't want to do like R.I.P. moments because I was like telling you it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, people. I mean, some people like it, some people don't. I don't see any problem with it, but like the Shelley Duvall one came, and there was a couple more, right? And then and then Richard Simmons.
It weirded me out.
Richard Simmons died. Now his day of death will never be remembered because of the assassination attempt.
There was this girl on Twitter who, she looks like she's in her 20s, and she posted a lot about how she was, quote unquote, friends with Shelley Duvall, and she would post pictures with Shelley Duvall, and she apparently visits her and has her number. And she posted after her death saying, like, you know, it's hitting me really hard right now. And it's like, are you a friend or family member? If not, you should shut up, because it sounds like you're just a weird orbiter who found this woman at a time when she was less mentally sound and like able to discriminate who she's spending time with, but whatever. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Monday, Brett and Mary. I hope everyone has their dark MAGA blackout hats on lock. I know I do. Long live Orange Boy Summer. Yeah, mine is in the mail. I'm still waiting on it. Not entirely sure if that's going to be on back order for like the next 6 months because of what just happened, but I'm crossing my fingers.
Let's do one more.
Red Snow said, Mary with that ish-eating grin to start the show.
Indeed.
I mean, there's no other way to start a show like this.
Well, let's keep up with what we were discussing. So
Yes.
first, we discussed what happened with celebrities and their reactions to Donald Trump's attempted assassination. But the internet as a whole also had a reaction.
Yeah, there was no shortage of absolutely unhinged responses to the attempt that was made on Trump's life on social media. So we've gotten into the Hollywood perspectives, but as you can expect, the perspectives that are coming from people like Destiny, for instance, are much worse. And he went on a tirade of tweets that I'm going to recall for you. I have them pulled up on screen right now. But if you're listening, he said he's conflicted about how to feel about what just happened on Saturday. He tweeted, if we learned anything today, I hope it's realizing the importance of principles I've stressed on many, many times on stream before. Having a firearm means absolutely nothing if you don't spend time at the range practicing with it. Yeah. And he also said, at least you're too fat to miss, you subhuman, hypocritical piece of shit. He said that Trump was acting like a dictator, that he was causing an insurrection. He said, I'm honestly conflicted on how I feel about the shooting, but we'll chat about it on stream tomorrow.
What were his dictatorial behaviors that I'm not aware of?
January 6th. You'd have to ask Destiny. I don't have all the answers. He also said...
that's a big claim.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened in 1776? Was that a peaceful protest? And then someone posted a graphic image of blood on the bleachers at the event in Butler. And he said, I cannot believe your shit right now. Destiny responded, all I see is Biden up 1 in Pennsylvania. Get it?
Yeah.
Because the person who died that day is now a registered Democrat. So he just thinks the whole thing is a laugh riot. Not like I have anything against joking about tragedies on principle, but the way he was doing it was very specifically malicious, and it was, I mean, I saw worse than what was coming from him, but there were legitimate incitements to violence that I'm still scrolling past on my timeline right now.
The first thing it made me think of, and it's not a one-to-one comparison, was remember when the dude lit himself on fire for Palestine?
Yeah.
And
people were like, making him a martyr.
Well, but it became a meme almost instantly, right?
Yeah.
You don't go to the internet for compassion and rational thought.
Of course, yeah. And this other TikToker made a video giving her immediate reaction to the news. She was upset that Trump survived the shooting.
Let's watch this quick.
I just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a
Someone
centimeter away!
should pull her over for filming a TikTok and screaming while driving.
She's like holding her phone too. It's not like on a...
She's very unfortunate looking.
There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away!
What I want to know is like, this is just a fair question. She's driving in what looks to be a nice car through what looks like a suburban area. My problem with the internet connected to
she has AirPods.
What my problems are with the internet as it connects to politics is that people don't care about what's going on locally. They care about what's going on in national elections, and they treat it like pro wrestling. And they're really, really attached to it, right? Like, I don't know what in her daily life has been so upended that would make her react this way.
You know how Phil jokes about feminists seeing every man as their dad or the president?
Yeah.
This chick sees the president as her dad.
Yeah.
I can tell she's letting out some primal screams here.
She should have gone to that class where you can twerk away your generational trauma.
Somehow, her only problem with the perpetrator is that he was a white man, and she attributes that to why he missed his shot.
Oh,
she said, "I know it was a white man attached to that trigger."
Oh,
that's why she blamed him for not killing Trump.
I assumed that was just because white men and guns.
No, she means like if it were a non-white person or a woman, that they wouldn't have missed.
Yeah.
So there's that. And now I'm seeing some more honest reactions from liberals. This girl posted a TikTok about their reaction knowing that Trump is going to win at this point.
Hey, Trump got shot at. Got shot at? Trump got shot at. So like, did he? Oh yeah, he lived. Huh. Yeah, and what's worse is he looked really cool when it happened. What do you mean he looked cool when it happened? He unfortunately looked very cool when it happened. How do you look cool getting shot at? Well, like what did he do? Pop right back up with blood streaming down his face, pumping a fist in the air, shouting USA, USA, USA until a crowd of thousands joined in? That's exactly what he did. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. I know. We're gonna lose the election, huh? Big time.
Yeah, they're realizing in real time. We have
that was actually done pretty well.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like if she's just being honest about it. We have a 20 from Ulven Crow. Aurelio Voltaire from the Velocipaster movie. The Gypsy Man is making a movie. Thank you. Called the Demonatrix. And he is a goth singer from my childhood.
We will have to go look into this.
The Demonatrix, huh?
Mary ever quits this show, it's just going to become a B-movie review channel.
I'm totally okay with that. We also have a take from Baby Gronk. If any of you are into Gen Z brain rot, you'll know exactly who this is.
Yep, here we go.
America, what are we doing shooting each other for? I'm Baby Gronk. I'm the leader of this young generation. Donald Trump, with his ear bleeding out, that guy, he's a dog.
Yeah, that's Baby Gronk's take.
I wonder what Livy Dunn thinks of this. I need to know.
We need to know what Livy Dunn thinks of this.
What does Livy Dunn think about?
We need to know what Kai Cenat thinks of this.
It's important.
We also have an unedited clip of Biden's response.
Here we go.
My fellow Americans, I'm enormously high. I'm gay. I want to speak to you tonight about the need for violence. A former president was shot. I'm grateful. Law, what's made America so special? Nothing. Think about it. To remember.
Completely real.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm enormously high.
In case this gets brought up at our hearing someday, I'm not saying it's actually real.
It's edited, obviously. I hope you all know that. And finally, if you guys were wondering if there were any pickup lines that you could use that were tonally appropriate for, the spirit of our age, this one says, "The guy who tried shooting Donald Trump had me thinking about how I missed my shot with you."
I see some Valentine's Day cards in their future.
They're cooking.
Yeah,
definitely. So yeah, at least some people were able to
call me the assassinator the way I'm shooting my shot.
Call me Trump's assassin the way I'm gonna miss my shot with you.
Oh, that's just so sad. It's just so sad. Look, it's the internet was actually again, I'm not on Twitter like all day anymore, which is a huge benefit to my mental health as a whole. But the first thing I thought of was after the dude set himself on fire for Palestine, it immediately became a meme.
Yeah.
And that filled me with a certain amount of dread that it's like, look, nothing matters anymore.
Well, there's no...
Nothing matters anymore.
There's no sense that human life is sacred anymore. And I understand that that's like very dark, but at the same time, it's incredibly American. At least, this contemporary American culture encourages us to make light of tragedies, not only after there's been a time period to process everything, but with no time to process anything. Before you even know all the facts, like you see half serious posts and half memes on your timeline about a national crisis happening. And this is what happened when people from Japan were making jokes about 9/11 to get back at us for Barbenheimer memes. And all of the Americans were like, oh, you must not understand our sense of humor because this is what we do. We are incredibly solipsistic and nihilistic, and that's our entire sense of humor.
I immediately went to humor.
Yeah.
That's just the way my brain works.
Is it a coping mechanism or is it just funny? I don't know.
No. Look, this is what it is. At least to me, is you live more and more of your life on the internet now, which means you live more and more of your life surrounded by people you don't actually interact with on a daily basis or have any reason to actually care about. You care about the people who actually touch your life in some way, shape, or form, meaning people you interact with in the real world most of the time. Sure, there's people you can be friends with long distance that maybe you don't see very often, but for the most part, for something to truly affect you, it's somebody that you know. It's somebody that's actually had an impact on the real world life that you lead. And the idea that everyone is going to care equally about things that happen online. Now, there's a greater discussion about, what it means for the nation that stuff like this is happening, and it's valid and it's 110% real, that we don't even take the most serious of events, seriously anymore.
There were people, I'm sure, the day of JFK's assassination who were mourning, very solemn. It was a very solemn day. I don't think that even if Trump hadn't survived on Saturday, that people would take a moment to be serious about it.
My anger wasn't with individuals on the internet making jokes. My anger was with the media. My anger was with the unbelievably vague headlines designed to obfuscate the truth of what happened from normies who might find out about it. That's what I care about. I wrote a very long essay type thing out about, look, these headlines are not just intellectually dishonest, they're evil.
They were immediately in lockstep saying, it was an incident.
Yes.
There were shots ringing out. He fell.
Somebody saying something crazy on the... Look, I saw a lot of people who were dissecting the stuff that Destiny was saying and saying, look, he went off the deep end after his divorce. And so I'm not saying you have to have empathy or sympathy for Destiny. What he said is vile, but you can have it for an individual, for a human being. You can't have that for a corporation. Okay?
Sure.
I can extend graciousness, empathy, and care to somebody who says something awful because I know that they're a human being, whatever the case may be.
But when the New York Times comes out the next day...
It's an evil, disgusting corporation hell-bent on taking the best intentions of American citizens and using it against them. That's evil. Okay? Human beings are flawed. Corporations are evil.
Yeah, that's a good point, and one that is far too often forgotten. Because there's this credibility attached to the media outlets still by at least half the country.
Exactly. All right, so let's go to Super Chats then.
Okay, Pop Culture Junkie said, to use one of your terms, thanks for being a palate cleanser for the recent news. I really needed it. We're glad to attempt to be that.
We still covered it.
We're still covering it, but it's not going to be, political analysis, and it's not going to be what IRL is tonight.
No.
That's what we aim for is to...
If you're coming to us for deep political analysis, you've made bigger mistakes in your life.
Yes. I was just thinking about this over the weekend because, I went to this talk that was about what kind of impact do you want to have? And I was like, gosh, I haven't thought about that in a while. And
is that something you used to consider on a regular basis?
Well, before this job, no, because I didn't have much of an influence before having this job. But I hadn't thought about it in a while because I realized that I was kind of falling victim to the same functions that the internet uses to make you depressed and angry and confused and divided. I realized that, overall what this show is meant to do, and it's in our slogan, is to decipher what's going on and help you stay sane, because it literally can drive you insane to just keep doom scrolling and consuming for hours a day, every single day. It can really send you into a spiral, and what I need to protect against is going down that spiral so that I'm even capable of doing this job. Yeah. So
I have that thought comes to my brain all the time. I mean,
that's why you took X off of your phone.
That's why I took X off of my phone. And the sad thing is it's not even it fell victim to necessarily. I wasn't trolling through threads about Renee Rapp. It would be okay, I see a bunch of stuff about this, but then I get caught up in some thread about something completely different that isn't even connected to it. So just by virtue of being someone that searches for truth and information in these realms, it can lead you down a path of self-destruction just because you start taking in stuff that doesn't matter. And the point I was making on Friday is the reason I deleted it, it wasn't even necessarily because the information itself is damaging mentally. That's fine. I can handle reading a bunch of stuff that's depressing. What I found is that for some reason, I cannot commit anything that I take in on X to memory. So if I'm reading a bunch of depressing news information or watching depressing news coverage, that will retain. But for some reason, I could read the most interesting thread in the world and it's just gone off the top of my head.
Yeah, for me,
So what's the point? Why put yourself through that if it's not actually going to broaden your perspectives or knowledge on anything?
Yeah, for me, it's the mechanism of, encouraging self-disclosure on these platforms that's really messed with my memory. I can't even remember what I thought about tweeting but didn't, what I did end up tweeting, what I ended up saying to someone over the phone, what I ended up saying to someone face to face, what I ended up saying to someone in a dream, what I saw on Twitter in a dream, what I tweeted in a dream. It's literally all this jumbled mess that is really messing with my perception of reality, to be totally honest.
So when you read something, right, whether it's about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, whether it's about Alec Baldwin, whether it's about Armie Hammer asking why nobody's given him a second chance because he was cleared by law enforcement officials, you take in so much information, stories change so frequently, you read a bunch of stuff online not knowing if any of it's true. I don't actually have a solid footing most of the time. When somebody asks me what the facts of this case are, I'm like, not those cases specifically, but anything.
Someone asks you, after the show every day, what did you end up talking about? You just it's just blank. And what's something that's really stuck with me, I don't remember when or where I heard it, of course, as we were just saying, but I saw someone say, you never remember looking at your phone in a dream. It's actually just your perception of reality is that you're on Twitter, you're in something.
Yeah.
And
I
you
never
don't
remember my dreams.
You don't like visualize holding a phone and looking at something on a phone in your dream, because in your waking life, when you look at something on your phone, your brain is not evolved to understand that it's not in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's pixels on a screen and you know that, your monkey brain or your lizard brain, whatever you want to call it, is not evolved to understand that what you're looking at is not right in front of the naked eye.
Correct.
And that's why in your dreams you don't perceive that you're looking at something on a device. And I've literally I've seen the internet in my dreams. It's really kind of trippy.
Like, it's kind of like when people were talking about, like, one of the things that gets argued the most about online is, like, budgets for movies. Mm-hmm. And I pointed out to someone, we were talking about Captain America Brave New World, and I read that, you know, I was like, well, I made the comments, I was like, well, it's going to be almost impossible for this movie to make its money back because it cost $350 million to make. And I read some person posting somewhere saying, no, the budget was closer to $250 million or $200 million. Here's the problem, though. Like, if I think back 2 hours or a day later, did I read that in an article? Did I read that on Twitter? Where did I read that? Then I have to go back and triple check to make sure that I had my numbers right. And even then, I'm like, where did they get their information? Do they have an accurate understanding of what movie budgets are like? If it can happen with something as inane and boring as the budget for a movie, imagine the way information warfare can be manipulated to make events murky to you. That's the whole point of...
It's called InfoWars for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, we got kind of distracted. I need to read some super chats now. Nate, or no, not that. John Stewart, was that the next one? Shane H. Wilder.
No,
Shane H. Wilder was next, I think.
Did we use?
He said, Mary, JD Vance is Catholic. Sorry, I had to say something not cringe after that cringe of the day. As I told Brett, the cringe reaper comes for all.
That was my point. Was on Friday I posted the new video of the lady and the guy of the office dancing, and there's a guy in there, and I said, cringe knows no age, race, or gender. Anyone can be cringe. In fact, cringe is unbelievably subjective, right?
It's the most diverse category.
It really is. Like, anything can be cringe to anyone. If you exist and you're older than the age of 35 or of 30, a Zoomer somewhere thinks you're cringe.
Yes.
Without doing anything.
Not even 30.
Yeah.
It's getting lower.
It's completely subjective in the same way that the ick is subjective for women. Mm-hmm. Why do I find it icky that he puts his right sock on first? I don't know.
As for JD Vance being Catholic, I wasn't aware of that, but I also don't know what to make of that because Biden is a professing Catholic, and that, as a politician, really doesn't mean anything these days. I would need to know more about him.
Who was it that I saw earlier? I saw some... Again, see, here it is. No idea who the celebrity was, but said, like, we need to vote for... Catholics need to vote for Biden because he's pro-life, and says Catholics need to care about all pro-life issues.
Oh, right. So that's the rhetorical trick they use. If you say that you're pro-life, then they say, oh, well, you're not pro-DACA recipients. Yeah. You're not pro-refugees pouring over the border. That means you're not actually pro-life. And I've said this on IRL before. Pro-life is me stating my stance on abortion. If you want to take it a different way, that's you intentionally misinterpreting me. It is a stance on abortion and euthanasia. It does not go any further than that.
What about death penalty?
I mean, some people say that falls under the pro-life umbrella, like of social issues that it covers. Yeah. But I think since there's no... Like, obviously the Catholic Church completely condemns abortion. It does not condemn the death penalty in all circumstances. Yeah. So it's a little bit more open to interpretation for Catholics.
My lack of any faith in the state makes it very hard for me to be anything other than anti-death penalty. Like, I just don't...
And my authoritarian streak makes it hard for me not to be pro.
Yeah, I don't trust the state to get it right. If there was a group of clowns... I would rather trust a group of circus clowns than the U.S. government on just about any level when it comes to... Right? Sounds like it.
Felt like I heard it.
All right, let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Okay, Nate said Hawk Tuah worked because she didn't come off as a harlot. She just seemed enthusiastic, and that's what dudes are looking for. And then he continued, we just want to be wanted.
I think he's right. Like, there was something... This is going to sound weird, but in comparison to the other girls' video, oddly wholesome. about
somehow
original...
you could make Haktua wholesome by showing anybody that video.
Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back after the fact. Time to talk about Eminem and beefing with Candace Owens.
Yeah. Eminem just put out his recent album, The Death of Slim Shady, and it's just a bucket of cringe. It's so bad. He has evolved as an artist in the worst way possible. And the first thing that people took note of is how he name-dropped Candace Owens on not one but 2 tracks on this album. Firstly, from his song Lucifer, he wrote, "Candace O, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gonna throw the fact BITCH forgot she was black back at her. Laugh at her like them crackers she's backin' after her back is turned in a cute MAGA hat with her brand new White Lives Matter shirt." It goes further than that. He said, "Or say this MAGA dirtbag in a skirt just opened the biggest can of worms on the whole planet Earth. Call her Grand Wizard, yeah, Candace. Ha ha, or Grand Dragon, or like the national anthem, I won't stand for the tramp." That was all of his beautiful lyricism on that song, Lucifer. And
here's my problem with it on its face is like, he's been around since, you know, the late 90s. He's as mainstream as it gets. He's very, very successful. It just seems like a weird side quest to go and dunk on a political influencer. Like, the idea of rap artists beefing with political influencers is dorky.
Well, it's dorky, but it's incredibly ironic how he has become everything that he stood against, I guess, as an artist when he was cool. I mean, I think everyone can agree that he is not cool anymore. And he even acknowledged that he acknowledged this in his recent music video where he has his double who is playing the younger version of him. He's playing Slim Shady in the video. And he's acknowledging how irrelevant he's become, but he cannot quit. And he just keeps making himself look more and more like an out-of-touch sellout who is completely pro-establishment.
There's no way for him not to do that. Here's the thing. If he was to be anti-establishment in any facet that he actually talks about, he'd have to then he'd have to go join Kid Rock on stage. And I don't think he wants to do that.
Is there even a way to be anti-establishment in a way that isn't cringe now?
Internet only, and you have to be young.
And you know what? I'm starting to think you have to be anonymous as well, but that's another conversation.
So like the song Lucifer, it's really, really weird because stylistically it's very reminiscent of early Eminem, and it gets caught in this weird middle ground where he both, at the start of the song, references Twitter and TikTok bans, which is unbelievably current year, but then also
constantly name drops
his mom and talks about he mentions Columbine in the song. It's like, what year is it? So it's like I feel like maybe
it's been a quarter of a century.
It just feels like it's a very confused message. I don't find
there's
anything,
no message.
The lyrical work is fine. I think he's still gifted as an actual lyricist. I just think that Identity Crisis is going to be that way when you're okay. There's one point in the song where he does reference like people making fun of him because he's like out of touch and he's rich, and I would rather he focus on that. Like, he has a line about basically like having to like go to the opposite end of the house. Is like,
we're gonna go through more of his lyrics after this, but I wanted to show part of Candace's response to this. Go to about the minute 15 mark-ish.
Hold, please.
After she's read them out loud, a la Ben Shapiro reading the lyrics to WAP.
Imagine for a second.
Yeah. Imagine for a second that Candace Owens is in the KKK.
A struggling internally gay man, and so there's a lot happening with Eminem, and we should pray for him. On the second point, the way that we know that is because he's actually recycling things that black women have said about me on the internet. Like, he's pretending this is original, calling me Candace. It's not. This is like he's just recycling the black women that don't like me on the internet, have a lot of names for me, one of them being Candy O. So he's like watched what they're saying, and I guess someone who was listening to him in the booth was like, yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, drop the beat. They're really going to like that. By the way, there's a second song he also dropped. This one's called Bad One. And the lyrics are this about me. Yeah, this whole subgenre with all these corny white rappers, I'm not a fan of it. It ain't my fault, but like sock puppets, I had a hand in it. This $1,000 in my hand is just like what Candace did when she turned her back on her own race, because I have abandoned it. Oh my, so cool. That's a tough one. That's so tough. The black community is going to be going crazy.
I don't think they care.
I don't think that's going to happen at all.
They as in black people?
I don't think anyone cares. I don't think, like, 90% of the people listening to this will have no clue who she is.
He's writing something that maybe would have been relevant to listeners in 2017 or maybe during 2020 at the height of BLM. Mm-hmm. But it's like it took him, it's almost as if he wrote this 5 years ago and it took him this long to actually get the album out. I don't even know. She also said he still thinks he's a 13-year-old boy rapping in his room when in reality he's 51 years old. You do forget how old he is because he looks like he hasn't aged a day since the 2000s. We have a 20 from Brian Howe. I'm from Michigan. Eminem seems to have forgot what party ruined Detroit, and his lyric writing seems to have fallen off.
He doesn't think of it that deeply, would be my guess.
He doesn't think about anything that deeply.
He has a song, as I've brought up many times, called We as Americans, that talks about criminals not being able to own guns. And I used to make the joke, I was like, I love the idea that he is a constitutional lawyer on the weekends and raps during the week. It's actually quite good. And if I remember correctly, that one wasn't released on the American version of that album. I think there's a quote about Bush that was a no-no back in the day.
Candace also tweeted about another one of his tracks on the album saying, in case you needed any more proof that Eminem has a handler, he dropped a track criticizing people who didn't wear masks. The rap game is filled with closeted homosexuals who are blackmailed into towing the establishment line. That's who she thinks Eminem is being blackmailed to make rap this cringe. I think that he's just genuinely cringe.
Well, then why would he references Diddy?
Eminem criticizes non-mask wearers on a new rap track in collaboration with Kid Cudi. The single is The Adventures of Moonman and Slim Shady. And on the song, Eminem raps, bunch of half-wits up in the office, half of us walking around like a zombie apocalypse. Other half are just pissed off and don't want to wear a mask. And they're just scoffing. And that's how you end up catching the shit off them. I just use the same basket as you shopping. Now I'm in an effing casket from you coughing. So he is talking about catching COVID from someone in a grocery store and dying from it.
Political rap from either party tends to be very lame.
This is just so boomerish.
In current year.
He wouldn't past Eminem be humiliated by this?
Yeah.
I have to think that. And there were some people posting screenshots from Genius that were fake, but I swear this one was real. It came from his song Fuel. I'm like an R-A-P-E-R. Yeah, got so many S-A's. Get it? Yep. S-A. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he?
Wonder if he wrote that late.
And then another one. Gen Z, here they come now, about to unload rounds. Pronouns. Shit. That was another line. He has another line that says, you gonna cancel me, yeah? Gen Z me, bruh? Another one, here's from his song Habits. Got the women pissed, and it seems like men are just off growing a huge clitoris. Yeah, I probably annoyed a few feminists. I reminisce on them blowing a fuse over my points of views. Still, I'm devoid of shits to give. My thinking is primitive. But when it comes to giving it to anybody, boy, is Bruce generous. And I'm about as much of a boy as Bruce Jenner is. 'Cause I'm not a boy, I'm a man, bitch. My speech is free as his choice to choose gender is. This shit is like opioid abuse, isn't it? there's just way too much name dropping of pronouns and Gen Z snowflake culture.
It's your boomer uncle on Facebook.
It's literally copy and pasted from Black Twitter and boomer Facebook memes put into a blender and just like shat out for the world to listen to.
Personality-wise, I don't know what else he's supposed to do, given he was an early establishment player who was packaged and sold as anti-establishment, because back then we lived in a more Christian majority country that actually would scoff at such lyrics. So it spoke to the teenagers and young adults of the time. Nowadays, that doesn't really exist in the same way.
Another one that I'm pretty sure is fake is from the song Habits. Farted so hard that I sharted. My ass is R-worded. I got more downs than pronouns. Call me Mr. R-worded. That one is, I'm pretty sure, fake. Yeah. But I just can't buy that Eminem is doing this in a self-aware, ironic way. He must legitimately think that this is offending people. But no one is offended. They're just getting secondhand embarrassment at this point.
I think there's probably a large contingent of normies in his audience that are perfectly fine with it.
Because relatively recently, didn't we post a video that was like, Gen Z tries to cancel Eminem?
Yes.
But it was only because he wrote a lyric about Megan Thee Stallion and her getting shot in the foot, and they were offended on her behalf. But none of the lyrics about pronouns or politics or gender or free speech or slurs, none of those caught him any ire, any backlash, as far as I could tell from Gen Z. So maybe he's just creating the idea that they're easily offended snowflakes, when really they're like, sorry, who's Eminem? Like, I know Baby Gronk, I don't know Eminem, because he's just so irrelevant to this generation.
But he's not, so he's not speaking to them. He's speaking to, Gen Z, or I'm sorry, to Gen X and millennials.
Are they seriously listening to
they
this
are.
stuff?
Like, all his songs still chart, all his stuff still charts really, really high.
Is he the GOAT? There's a big debate about this.
I don't know if I don't know who I consider the GOAT, but I don't really think it's him.
Okay.
But
you wouldn't name one
who
off
I
the top
think
of your
is,
head?
No, I'm gonna keep my list to myself.
Okay. You don't want to get the backlash for what you say.
I don't think that deeply about it anymore. I don't listen to as much rap as I used to.
Yeah, there's a little bit too much stock placed in it. I feel like rap is not as dominant in the music genre as it was in the 2010s.
Yeah.
By now.
Early 2000s after.
Country and pop are now charting more than rap, as far as I can tell. All right, let's go to Super Chats. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary is a De Niro fan, confirmed. I mean, just because I can watch a movie that has Robert De Niro in it doesn't mean I'm a fan.
Yeah, you have to be able to separate those two.
Because he is talented, right? Like, we can all agree that he's talented, but he's just crazy.
Yes.
I mean, he was hanging out outside of the Trump trial in Manhattan, just hanging out with the people and constantly talking smack about Donald Trump. He's obsessed. Rhaegar Targaryen said, I was in the grocery store listening to, was this Mahler?
Okay.
And the EFAP crew.
EFAP crew. Yep.
Okay, when it happened, the chat posted the news. A hero firefighter made the ultimate sacrifice for his family. Requiescat in Pace? I hope I said that right. Yeah, I still haven't gathered much of the details because I was trying to stay off of my phone as much as possible on Saturday night, like after I figured out what was happening. But at the same time, I had like people texting me frantically, and I don't know. It was a lot. The last thing I wanted was for everyone to get glued to their phones for hours on end, but that's
funny how that happens.
Inevitable.
Right?
Yeah. Marco said, I can't super chat certain words. Okay, see you next time.
Yeah, here's the thing, guys. Like, so when we were making the headlines for today, right, my issue is like we have to watch what language we use. Well, establishment legacy media doesn't. And establishment and legacy media omitting the phrase assassination is the most intellectually dishonest thing you could possibly do when talking about.
I mean, they outright asked Biden if it was an assassination attempt.
Yep.
I know that's a politicized question, I guess, but he just straight up answered like, well, we don't know all the facts yet.
We may never know.
Someone shooting at Trump's head. We don't know if it's an assassination attempt, guys. Shane H. Wilder said, I tried listening to the space that Destiny was in yesterday. I dipped out quick. No need in getting pissed and giving a demon power. I just went and made some memes for my boy Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, respectable choice. Because I was tweeting about this yesterday about like demons using the internet to destroy human souls, and I am seeing it more and more frequently, the effect that it's having. And I don't, you never know if one of the bot accounts in your replies is being animated by a diabolical spirit.
Is that what you think?
I genuinely believe that demons are actively engaged in online discourse, not just influencing what people say, but actually running accounts.
Yeah.
Because if we can believe as Catholics that, they can possess human beings, I 100% believe it's easier for them to wield control over an inanimate object or over technology like artificial intelligence.
I think it's just hard for the average person who isn't, theological to have that discussion.
Definitely, yes. I mean, this is what Tucker Carlson was saying on his recent appearance on Joe Rogan, where he said, this is like the first society in human history that doesn't believe there are spiritual forces acting upon us. Like, that's not something anyone else in history has ever believed. So really, we're unique in that regard, and we need to bring an awareness of that back into the forefront. The DJ Foy said, with Tenacious D, they're currently here in Australia. It happened around 8:30 a.m. our time, so they would have known for at least a few hours.
Okay, so they were...
But I thought they were addressing Canada in the video. Was I mishearing that?
Misheard it.
Okay. Omega Red Fan said, Carlito Caribbean Cool was the original Hawk Tuah girl.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. I have no idea. Shane H. Wilder said, I continually think about my impact, which is why I started the Catholic Friends Sunday tweets on Twix.
I think that's a good thing, right?
Do you think about your impact?
No. Yeah.
Should you?
I think about, look, in the context of the show, it's why I always talk about the idea that I don't want to change your views necessarily on anything. I'm not fighting any great war or battle for the culture. I just want to give you something entertaining to listen to.
Yeah.
If you can help someone by giving them something entertaining to listen to for a few hours a day, I suppose you can make the argument that they're a net positive for society, right? Because what people talk about whenever influencers or people who have podcasts talk, most people who don't like them will at least reasonably ask, like, well, what are you doing for the world, sitting there talking? You have your opinions, but how does that help or shape anything? And I think that that's a fair question to ask. Now, there are plenty of social media personalities, influencers, and podcasters who have influenced a lot of people. Certainly, guys like Joe Rogan have changed a lot of minds and a lot of things, and people will get messages from people that they listen to saying that they've motivated them to do something or another or make a change in their life, and that's good. But I don't have such grandiose ambition other than to just give you something to listen to at work, and I don't think that that's a bad thing.
No, I mean, I think you just need to know what your goal is, even though it's not necessarily going to be some grandiose, monumental thing.
Yeah.
In fact, since you mentioned Joe Rogan, I don't even think he himself has changed minds on things. I think he has just invited people to not be in an echo chamber.
Well, I'm saying
which is good enough.
He's changed minds by building a platform.
It's like an indirect,
and then offering that light, that limelight to people who can change minds. I suppose.
For us, we were thinking about the type of people who come to the channel, and obviously we came up with this slogan that's helping you navigate the insane world of pop culture and stay sane and all of that. And I realized that, if I'm letting it drive me insane, what am I going to do to make anyone else feel sane?
Yeah.
So, there's just a lot to think about there. Porco Rosso Forever said the based will be cringe and the cringe will be based, referring to Eminem.
I'm going to need you to give me better definitions of that. The cringe will be based. What is the based that is now cringe?
It's like the the first will be last in the kingdom of heaven. The based will be cringe in the kingdom of heaven.
It's just not the 2000s anymore, and people in the early 2000s or the late 90s didn't really think about the fact that when somebody like Eminem said something controversial, he said it with the blessing and backing of a billion-dollar entity that is a music label. Okay, nowadays people are more on edge about corporations and involvement. I think a lot of that has to do with the change in the country. And look,
they're more aware that things are being sold to them, right?
Yes, and you weren't necessarily aware of that before.
That's why people, perceived Marilyn Manson as well as like this anti-establishment, anti-corporation, organized religion, everything.
You watch a scary Marilyn Manson video, and just remember there was a dork in a editing bay somewhere,
and there was a marketing strategy for it. People didn't think about that as much back then. We become more cynical, but maybe there's a bright side to that. Sorenko Productions said, "That's an awfully hot coffee pot."
He'll never live that one down.
He should have been on that listicle of celebrities who fantasized about violence against Trump, because he said, "Can I pour it on Donald Trump?" Probably not.
Look, if you're a rapper, just stay out of national level politics.
But he always said things that were political.
The bigger, but it's cringe now.
Yeah.
It's cringe now. It wasn't cringe then. It's cringe now. Okay.
But what's inherently different about that, I guess, is just that more people have a platform to state their opinions instead of hearing it voiced from a public figure.
It's kind of like, look, you can dislike Dave Chappelle all you want. He finds interesting ways to talk about the things he wants to talk about. And even we have criticized, we're like now how much of his set is dedicated to focusing on trans stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you start to focus too heavily on one area for a comedian like that who's so talented, it does himself a disservice, right? Like focus on all of the other things that you're gifted at telling stories about and watch yourself excel. But to be fair to him, those all seem to do well anyway, so he has no incentive to do otherwise. But the great artists, the great storytellers, they have a gift, and I almost feel like they do themselves a disservice. That's an affront to themselves to focus on the stuff that the rest of us unwashed masses are already focusing on.
Well, those Dave Chappelle specials still do well, regardless of the fact that the material is somewhat stale and tiresome, because people are just so starved to hear any pushback whatsoever on issues like that they think it is a little bit more, they think it's funnier than it is, just because you're so shocked that someone is finally talking about it.
Yeah.
And there's merit to that. I don't really think there's anything inherently wrong with using art to express your ideas, even if they're, political, religious views, whatever it may be, but you need to do it in a skilled way. And most of the time, I would say 99.9% of the time now, it's not done in a skilled way. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with art being political. It's almost unavoidable, but it's so, I don't know, it's done in such a vulgar way now.
It's not just vulgar, it's that it's done at the forefront of the idea, right? Back in the day, the story came first and the message came second. I had no problem with the message being in there, but when it sacrifices the story, it's like I'd rather have a list on hand with me of the many examples I could give you of movies that have agendas like that, but they don't necessarily push it down your...
Nothing wrong with having an agenda. I guess, if it's unavoidable. And you know what? About Eminem, he used to have an interesting personal tale to tell people. And for some of that was relatable to his audience. And now he's the opposite of relatable, because he's not young anymore, and he's, told everything there is to tell about his backstory. And he's this just mega rich, powerful, influential guy in his 50s who now his daughter is married. Like, he is in his twilight years. It's time to focus on being a grandpa. Like, it's not, it's okay to accept that you're not it anymore.
Like I said, in that song, the closest I got to enjoying it was when he was basically bragging about people saying that I'm out of touch, and then owning it and saying like, yeah, it's impossible to get to the opposite end of my house because I'm so rich. And like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely fine with that. But there is definitely some, much in the way that the Acolyte has very confused storytelling, making fun of pronouns and then telling me that I have to wear a mask or you're going to die are very, very weird, disparate ideas that don't really go together. But that could be because in the year 2024, we're desperate to put people into boxes as far as their beliefs, when the average person who doesn't think deeply and critically about politics may be a grab bag of ideas about a ton of different things. And I guess it's okay for an adult in his 50s to think you should wear a mask because according to the news he's been watching, you're going to die if you don't, and also still think pronouns are silly. We pay attention more. We have more information, therefore we see the issue there, the disparity. The average adult who doesn't think that deeply about it doesn't, so it's just a weird personality quirk that's unique to his information level, to the level of information he's taken in.
Yep. Rhaegar Targaryen said Eminem was cringe for longer than people want to admit. Like, how long?
Yeah. I think a lot of people still consider
From the start?
A lot of people still consider him to be the GOAT, as they say.
He also said Eminem became what he feared most, a whack rapper. May have been.
It's very hard to admit that to yourself. And plus, again, this is all subjective, and I guarantee you that as much as we want to criticize it here, there will be plenty of Gen Xers listening to this on a compact disc in their car.
Yeah, we're not the target demo.
We are not the target demo. And it's kind of like when what's-his-name gave the speech at the Christian college, and everybody who wasn't a Christian got mad.
Yes.
We're not Eminem. Well, I guess I'm
all the Gen Xers in their car are like, ha, he said Gen Z in pronouns.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good line.
Like, I guess I'm part of the target demographic a little bit, I guess.
Well, you're millennial still. Yeah. Daniel Jagger said,
but those albums were popular when I was in school. The Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
All of them.
Daniel Jagger said, call me Charismas to Hell with Hollywood EP is great. Heart Attack Man's Fake Blood album is excellent too.
Okay.
Thanks for the recommendations. Shane H. Wilder said, Eminem used to be edgy. Now he's about as edgy as a dull butter knife and as offensive as elbows on the dinner table.
That might be the biggest insult to somebody trying to be edgy, is to say that you're about as controversial as your elbows on the dinner table.
Everyone agrees that that's not a faux pas in etiquette now, right?
Also, look, Candace won just by virtue of being mentioned twice.
Yeah.
An internet personality.
She won by living in his head rent-free.
Yes.
Like,
look, a lot of people would consider, here's the thing. It is a compliment to, like, one of the things they were saying about Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B or whatever when he mentioned it was like, it is an honor to be dissed by Eminem because it means that he gave you the time of day. The fact that Candace Owens got 2 mentions from him says more about her than it does about him.
But I watched her full reaction to the lyrics, and she said she did feel that way about getting dunked on by Dave Chappelle because Dave Chappelle is an icon. But now that Eminem has name dropped her, she doesn't feel the same way because he's so irrelevant now.
I think she's wrong. Dave Chappelle
is definitely cooler than Eminem.
Dave Chappelle is more relevant to her because Dave Chappelle's work ends up in the political sphere all the time. Eminem is plenty relevant. Like, somebody could go online right now and tell me how many monthly streams Eminem gets on Spotify. The number is
large. And give me the percentage of those streams that comes from songs that were made after 2010.
We'd have to look it up.
Not much. Red Snow said, God Emperor Trump 2024. Okay, disavow, personally. He said also, it's clear who Space King is now. Does that mean it's Trump? Was it Trump the whole time?
How do you feel about the people who were saying that it was God that, like, did you see the pictures they were making? It's like, your aunt on Facebook, and it's Trump being turned by an angel.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of, this artwork of Trump in the Oval Office with Jesus, and it's, a lot of evangelical boomers love that type of thing.
They love that stuff.
Type of language. But I I mean, I posted one like half as a joke.
Yeah.
Basically, it did occur on the anniversary of the 3rd apparition of Our Lady at Fatima.
He was also born on Flag Day.
Really?
I've heard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes things are coincidences, and sometimes they're not. I mean, I do believe it's providential that he lived by turning his head by a few centimeters, of course. But I don't like when people ascribe some kind of like divinity to Trump. Like, I really don't like that kind of language.
And you see
as a religious person.
Look, you could watch your timeline on Saturday as it slowly became that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my God. Sorry, I said oh my God, I apologize, guys. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it's like, this is the most powerful photo of all time. Yes. Down here, it's like, all of a sudden, it's a picture of an angel turning his head. I'm like, bro, it's been like 3 hours. You could have waited a day.
But also, I did listen to the priest who was there in Butler and led the prayer for the crowd at the rally that day, and what he had to say about it. He definitely attributed this to divine providence that he survived, and it's truly remarkable. I'm not going to downplay that. Yep. And I am happy that he survived, obviously. Rhaegar Targaryen said Space King is the engineer in Prometheus. Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
Did you see did you watch the BlackRock school commercial?
Yeah. Which is now taken down conveniently after it was pointed out.
Did they
took
get
it down.
releases for all those students to be in those ads?
Yeah, let's just not even say anything else after that, because I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get myself in trouble. High Voltage 75 said Brett Carlito was a wrestler in the 2000s who would chew up an apple and spit it in his opponent's faces, hence in the Hawk Tua.
Forgot about Carlito.
A crunch Tua.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Shane H. Wilder said, it's hard for people not theologically inclined to understand demon talk, but we still call it out. Not everything is directly demonic, but some is.
That's a fair thing to point out. I'm just saying, like, look, one of the hardest things for people who are deep into any subject matter, one of the hardest things for them to do is to reel it back so that people who are not deep in the subject matter don't feel like they're losing their mind when you start talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to talk about, the possibility that there's some type of anointed nature to Trump and that he's, or that there was something demonic happening at this event, you have to find a way to bring it up to the average person in a way that doesn't sound like it's going to be an HBO series.
By the way, guys, I think we are $7 away from the second crisis party.
And we will be hanging out till 5 today.
Hope we make it to a third today.
That would be good.
But I might be getting ahead of myself. Guerrera said, what's all this talk of a shooting? CNN told us that he merely had a fall after hearing loud noises. It's funny how they kind of try to word it like he's senile and falling all over himself. And it's then, like, no, that's Biden when he goes up a flight of stairs.
It's even more evil when you think about the fact that the picture they post is him going like this. So it's like he fell and then he put his arm up in triumph for falling. What are you talking about, you evil scumbags?
I mean, they really don't think their ish stinks. It's remarkable.
They're just evil.
Daniel Jagger said, any opinions on Hannah Rose Collins? Does there exist this corporate anti-establishment split in the pop, punk, rock, country spheres?
I mean, I think the only way to be anti-establishment now is to produce yourself.
I'm looking up Hannah Rose Collins because I haven't heard that name. Have you?
No. The only way to be anti-establishment is to produce your own music now.
Okay, this says Hannah Rose Collins, professionally known as Scene Queen and formerly Rosé, is an American singer signed to Hopeless Records, known for coining the style bimbo-core, a subgenre of metalcore with feminist themes.
Oh, okay, yes.
She rose to fame on TikTok.
I think I've at least heard some of this stuff on TikTok.
Her debut EP, Bimbo-core, was released in April 2022. Oh my goodness. But she didn't create the term bimbo-core, right? Just the musical genre?
I think I've heard her before. Or at least I've heard stuff from the genre before. The only way to really be anti-establishment now is to produce and create your own material, right? Like, it's very hard to claim that you're anti-establishment when Interscope Records makes sure that your song gets played a ton. The best example right now would be the somewhat, if not obvious, push for Sabrina Carpenter to be the next anointed queen of pop music, which is that she ends up everywhere. And like plenty of people have said, like, look, I have no interest in listening to her, but she's everywhere on my Spotify because she signed a deal with Spotify, right? Like, that's your
If you search up something totally unrelated on Spotify, a lot of people have been posting screenshots showing that Sabrina Carpenter's lead singles are coming up in the search results. It's very clearly AstroTurf.
Hi, I'd like to listen to
Thank
some.
you.
I'd like to listen to some gangster rap and some death metal, please. Here's some Sabrina Carpenter.
It's like, did you mean you wanted to listen to Espresso? You look up All That Remains and Espresso is the first search result. Like, I really can't believe it anymore.
Yep.
But I think I might have come across Hannah Collins back when I had a TikTok. She might have come up on my For You page. Rhaegar Targaryen said, when people aren't well-read or are not critical thinkers and they create art, you will inevitably get uninformed cringe takes on reality and propaganda. Yep.
But the thing is, that doesn't necessarily make them bad at the art. It just makes them bad at that type of art. Meaning that you can create great art that's just storytelling, but the second you start... Remember when the She-Hulk writers were like, we're going to write courtroom scenes, and then realized they couldn't write courtroom scenes because none of them were lawyers?
I think that writers' problem now is that they think they have a responsibility to use the writing for a certain grandiose purpose.
I want them to start saying...
They didn't have that sense before.
I want to create brain rot. I don't want you to learn anything from my show. Like, okay, so here...
Like, why do you think I only watch reality TV? It has no agenda.
Like, when you... Like, if you watch any show that's based on profession, like a show about doctors or a show about cops, they have, you know... Or a show about lawyers.
Jargon.
Lawyers especially tend to have showrunners that were like lawyers. Like a lot of Hollywood writers they were lawyers previously. And
they're like, lawyers, being a lawyer is not fun enough. I'm going to go to Hollywood.
Who is the Suits showrunner? I think it's Aaron Korsh was a lawyer before doing the show, right?
Okay.
But if you're a show about doctors, you're going to hire specialists and advisors to help you get the jargon right?
Well, they had... consultants for She-Hulk.
Exactly. But the thing is they weren't able to do a show like that because they didn't have a writer that was intimately knowledgeable about it, like shows like Boston Legal had or any of these other ones. Like, you need somebody intimately knowledgeable about it so that they can write intricate scenes that will be simplistically explained to the audience, right? And they can't do that. But that doesn't mean that somebody has to be an expert to do all types of art. It just means that general stories can be told, and then you research. It's like what all the great crime novelists would talk about. Like, they got it right by doing tons and tons and tons of research.
This is also why fantasy is such an easy genre to take on, and
hard to get right, but even then they had
well, they'll just use any unbelievable turn of phrase or artistic choice as, well, it's fantasy, so we can make it whatever we want. And that's the excuse that they used to put that hip hop song or that like R&B song in the outro music for that last episode of The Acolyte, because it doesn't make any sense with the atmosphere and aesthetic of Star Wars. But if you point that out, they'll just say, well, it's a fantasy genre, so we can do whatever we want.
But even stories that are written about high fantasy have had an interest in like history.
Sure.
Which informs the writing.
Yeah, and you need to keep it believable in the context that you're drawing from, that you're getting inspiration from. It's just, they've kind of abandoned that. Red Snow said, you've never seen the God Emperor Trump float? What is that?
Was that I don't know, is it a specific float? I remember the one that they, I remember the balloon from the UK that they had.
The one where he looks like a baby?
Yeah.
I'm looking up the God Emperor Trump float right now. It depicts Trump dressed as the fictional God Emperor of Mankind from Warhammer 40K.
Oh, okay.
Created by Italian artist for Carnival in 2019. 65 feet tall, Trump wearing golden armor. Wait, okay, let me look at the photos. Oh, I think I remember this. Someone said it looks like Trumpzilla. It's way better than the one of him in a diaper as a baby. Geneva said, I wonder if the Secret Service yelled, Donald Duck.
There's no comma there. They should have done that.
I can't believe I haven't heard that yet.
Yep, that was good.
That ruined my day. Shane H. Wilder said, shout out to Thursday for getting Father Jason Sharon on Pints so quick. Yes, it was a really good episode. Red Snow said, wait for it. Praise be to Space King.
There it is. Was that twice in one day we got Praise be to Space King?
I think so.
All right.
Shane H. Wilder said the Spotify DJ keeps randomly throwing in Sabrina in the mix. I'll be listening to Alice Cooper or Dwight Yoakam and it will be like, here's espresso. Yeah, I think she has a special deal with Spotify, which just sounds illegal, doesn't it?
Like
it's an undisclosed ad.
Some type of conflict of interest.
Right.
I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it should be allowed. But it also felt very astroturfed when Taylor's album came out and they put this pop-up on Instagram Reels to click on her album.
I mean, that's just it's why the people who hate her complain about all the infrastructure she has and the head start that she has.
And every time another artist puts out a single or an album or anything, she puts out the 85th new version of Taylor's version of the live performance of the bonus track. I don't even know at this point. I don't know how people are still purchasing this at this point. They're just, I don't know, buying it out of a sense of loyalty, which I can't imagine having for a pop star.
I just thought this was funny. Eminem has had, it says 5 #1 singles, and 3 of them came in the 2010s, 2 of them in the 2000s. I just want you to see, I just thought this was interesting.
So I guess he was technically more successful in the 2010s.
So if you look at this chart here, here's his charts and where they landed, right? So in the top 10 or whatever. And a lot of these singles are from most newer years. Obviously, Lose Yourself, Crack a Bottle, Not Afraid are all up to 2010, but The Monsters from 2013. So some of these, a lot of them.
Monsters, the one that they canceled him for glorifying domestic violence.
I thought it was Love the Way You Lie. Love the Way You Lie.
The one that he did with Rihanna.
Yeah, it was Love the Way You Lie.
No, but Monster had Rihanna on it.
But
maybe I confused the two.
The point is that they span all sorts of time periods.
Yeah, I just don't think he's been cool since at least current year.
Yeah, well, his generation isn't cool anymore. You can't be cool.
He's cool to his own generation,
and that's enough to be getting on with for him.
But I don't know. I just don't know why. I guess that he truly has a drive to continue creating music, because otherwise I can't imagine why he would need to. He has all the money. He has all the glory.
Yeah.
He just wants to...
Because he's an artist.
Express himself.
Well, that's
even though everyone hates it.
That's an interesting question, though, right? It's like, if you've built your image off a certain style and you age and you're successful now, how do you pivot and continue to create art and reestablish who you are in a new way?
Well, you would hope that it's just a natural evolution that takes place over time, and it's not some, top-down marketing strategy to keep your persona relevant for the next decades.
I wonder if he still plays the song White America on concert.
Definitely not. See, if you're so offensive, why don't you perform your old songs, Eminem? That's what I don't understand. You're posing like you're so offensive and you're offending the Gen Z snowflakes left and right, and you don't care what anyone thinks of it. But then you're not willing to perform White America on stage. Or what was the other one?
A lot of them.
You mentioned We As Americans, right?
I don't think that song was never actually really all that big. That was just, I liked it because it was on the UK release of Encore and it wasn't on the American, right?
Everyone liked him better when he was threatening his baby mama.
And to be fair, he was always the he was, because he was threatening, or he was critical of Bush at that time period. So he hasn't actually changed all that much.
How is it even? I don't understand hating Bush, because when I look back on that era, like, was he really that
must be the
controversial?
Wars and must be the wars and the Hurricane Katrina response.
Well, he just seemed like such a fun-loving, cheerful guy.
That's the problem.
Is that what got to people?
The most evil, the most evil thing in the world isn't the politician who portrays himself as evil. It's the aw shucks, this just happened evil of establishment politicians that are worse.
Who perform as folksy.
The scarier thing should be someone that can portray themselves as folksy while also invading foreign countries.
So Bush was faking
bombs. Yeah. Right. Fake stupidity for the sake of the vote.
I mean, I'd rather they be faking stupidity than actually being stupid, like what we have now.
See, like in the chat, Lonesome Mesa says Bush was a dork. That's scary. It should be scary to you that we invade foreign countries on the say so of a dork. Or is he just politically evil?
He was just quirked up.
He was in his Quirk Chungus era.
Yeah. Okay, Shane H. Wilder said the Target record section is only Taylor Swift. Well, I mean, they're just buying them as collector's items to put on their wall. I don't believe that these kids have record players. Or if they did, they wouldn't know how to use them.
A lot, maybe not Gen Z, but a lot of millennials got into record collecting. That's very big.
And
still.
Polaroids.
Yep, and Polaroids.
I have been wanting a Polaroid camera, as cringe as that is.
Well, no, see, for your generation, it's not Polaroids, it's just digital cameras.
Well, that's the one I have, is one of the point and shoots.
Yeah.
From back in that time. But then my SD card stopped working, so
you're gonna have to go get a new one.
Yeah. Daniel Jagger said, should Eminem start producing like Travis Barker and DTA Records?
I mean, I'm sure he's already considered a producer on a lot of stuff, right? I have no.
So Travis Barker has stepped back from music?
No, he still performs, but he does producing too.
Well, that sounds like what Kanye originally did and what he's going back to doing now.
Because he's retiring from music.
Shane H. Wilder said, and K-pop for some reason. Can you imagine listening to K-pop on an actual record? Like, it's not meant to be listened to that way.
It's literally designed to be heard digitally.
It is not intended for that.
You hear the crackle from the record player. And then
there are no live instruments.
No.
Mr. Joker said one day there will be a giant Emperor Mary float.
Think that's going to happen? At GodCon 2032?
That will be a scary day for this planet. Drewish AF said Tom McDonald's the only political rapper that's
100
emoji.
I like his apolitical music, or his less political music.
Does he have any truly apolitical music?
I mean, I always mention the song Church, which I really, really enjoy, but that's about addiction, so it speaks to me in a way. That's
apolitical, then.
Yeah. No Lives Matter is not apolitical, but I like that song. People So Stupid was funny. It's actually what Eminem tries to do. Basically dunking on you for pronouns and fat people and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like I remember.
And he gets, and the thing is like, it works for him because he works for himself, right? It's a lot easier to dunk on, not easier, I'm saying it's a lot more believable for somebody to dunk on pronouns and make rap music about politics when you are doing all of the work yourself and you're not at the behest of some large multinational label. Okay? People will find you to be more authentic because you are.
Okay, I remember this music video that came out 6 years ago, it says, and it went super viral, from Joyner Lucas, called I'm Not Racist, and essentially, he has this like white guy in a MAGA hat, mouthing all of the lyrics for him in the first half of the song.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't done super well, but it was an interesting concept. It was humanizing, which is all that you can ask for. Okay, what do we have next? Midnight Rider?
Yep.
Today's show brought to you by the word grandiose. Yeah, I guess we've said it too many times.
Has it been said a lot today?
Well, I said it like a couple times, and you said it a couple times.
Did it? Did I? Okay.
It adds up.
We gotta be careful. We should have.
We need a thesaurus.
A grandiose jar.
We need a thesaurus like right next to us during the show. So we will pause in the middle of the show and search for a new word to use for 3 minutes.
Mark Hayes in the chat says Fuel talks about Diddy and Baldwin. Again, look, I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know what Eminem should talk about in his music. Like, I guess I just don't. Like, I don't know what a dude who made his bones off looking like anti-establishment while being establishment is now supposed to do, rather than just what, right? Rap about his daughter getting married, I guess.
That's too wholesome. No one wants to listen to that.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, people don't want to listen to music that's positive generally these days. That's why you don't have love songs.
Look, I loved Sage Francis's political music. I enjoyed that. But again, that was in the early 2000s. It was protesting the war and was anti-Bush, but was also done on a small label, which means that he wasn't part of some large gazillion-dollar, mainstream apparatus. I enjoyed that, but that it was a lot different. To be anti-war in 2001 was not cool in America. It was not. You were supposed to fall in line.
It was cool to a certain subculture.
But
definitely.
It was a much smaller, but
yes.
It was not mainstream to be anti-war.
Is it mainstream now?
Well, no,
because it certainly isn't mainstream amongst politicians.
Now it's okay because now we're spreading. Now they've fallen for the spreading democracy stuff that always used to get talked about. We should be helping every country that's at war. But I love the Makeshift Patriot is a fantastic song, but again, 2001, 2002, right after 9/11, critical of social issues that we would now kind of cringe at being talked about today, but felt more real because it was done before it was politically cool to criticize those things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're all caught up on the super chats.
Well, I guess they're going to have to work to get us
We're about 5 minutes from 5 p.m., but about a quarter of the way to the third party. So I don't know if we're going to make it, but that's fine.
One more there from Shane H. Wilder.
Just looked up grandiose in the thesaurus. Ambitious, bombastic, flamboyant, lofty, magnificent, monumental, noble, pompous, pretentious, showy, splashy.
Damn.
Those are a lot of words. Thank you for that.
And then another one from Red Snow.
Red Snow said Thesaurus Culture Crisis 2024. We need to do this. It will be constructive for everyone involved.
I am very comfortable with my mediocre vocabulary. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I mean, you definitely surprised me sometimes. There are some words you use that I haven't heard before.
Like what?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
They're words I haven't heard before.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, let's see. Aaron Howell says, fun show, free speech, free press. Everybody stay safe out there. Yes. Free press.
Definitely stay safe. If you're going to a Trump event, keep your wits about you. In the last one from That Catholic Gamer Guy, I must confess that I have defected from Mary's simp army to Team Dasovic. No homo. Sounds a little bit homo, but I support you nonetheless.
We take what we can get here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make jerseys. Team Dasovic jerseys.
Team Dasovic. # a little bit homo.
Kinda homo.
A tad homo.
All right. Okay. Tacty Platty says the fake sign language guy was at Mandela's memorial in 2013. That's crazy.
Okay, we got another couple super chats. Jewish AF said, anyone else use AT&T whose data was illegally downloaded?
I don't know if mine was.
Yikes. Well, that happened to Disney at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, we may end up talking about this tomorrow. Guys, there was a data breach. Okay, this is why this podcast is impossible, because as I'm saying data, I'm like, data or data? Depends on the person, and then I forget what the hell I'm going to say. There was a data breach at Disney. Their company Slack channel got compromised by an hacktivist group who apparently champions the rights of artists for fair pay and all this stuff. And apparently over 1 terabyte of data was taken.
Yeah, that's really what they're called, hacktivists?
That's a term, yes.
They're not slacktivists.
No, they're hacktivists.
Okay.
It was like the name of the group was like Null Bulge.
What was the group that that caused the like the gas shortage back in 2021. Remember that? You don't remember that? There were like a ton of gas stations that just like were cut off.
Didn't happen to me.
I don't know. Maybe it was just in my area. Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, I have no idea why my super chat took out all of the spaces. There were spaces between the words. Sorry, Mary. It's okay.
It's funnier without the spaces.
It's funnier without the spaces. It's like the superfragicalisticexpialidocious type of thing. I appreciate a challenge.
I thought he was just trying to meet a character limit, and there was like he's like 5 characters away from it being viable, and he just got rid of the spaces to meet the character.
Guys, don't sacrifice the meaning of what you're saying to meet the character limit. Just pay a couple extra dollars if you don't mind. The Catholic Gamer guy said semi-homo for the innuendo.
There you go. Perfect.
And then Red Snow said, Can I get just a touch instead? Get it? What?
No.
I don't get it.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it. So before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Mary, let everybody know where the heck they can find you.
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of them. I'll see the Twix messages when I'm at work because I don't have Twix on my phone anymore. The show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch this show. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye everyone.